Next up, we got Absolute Mad Labs Don. I don't even want to say that name because I don't want to mess it up, but somebody requested this video. You feel me? Y'all request any video, I'm gonna react to them. So hey, I don't know what this is exactly, but I think it might be pertaining to the like the criminal shit. I don't really know. But man, let's see what it is. Time. Oh, hold on, my mic not on. My mic cut off? When did my mic cut off? Okay, AO YouTuber, hold on. 1 second. Wait. Ready? Alright.
In American shop owners armed themselves and defended their
Wow.
livelihoods against a violent mob. This story serves out how some brave Korean... About 2 years ago, I talked about how some brave Korean American shop owners armed themselves and defended their livelihoods against a violent mob. This story serves as an inspiring tale to many people, whether it be for purely defending the Second Amendment in the US, or as a general message to encourage people to make a stand against those that wish to do them harm. We mostly associate stories like this happening just in America, but today's mad lad was a proud Mexican. A Mexican who was willing to defend everything he had against one of the most violent cartels in the world. Don Alejo Garza Tamez.
Mouse irritating. Blow my eardrums off. There it is. I get a new mouse, bro. This shit acting stupid.
But before we get into the mad lads, it is a fact your boy Rich Shadow Legends, the hottest game on the Play Store.
Okay, alright, buddy. Free as my guy. Alright. Damn, how long is the freaking ad?
Box. Don Alejo was born sometime in 1933 in the small town of Allende, located in the Mexican state of Nuevo Leon. And just a heads up, my Spanish is non-existent, so I apologise in advance if I completely butcher the pronunciation of some things. Don Alejo's father owned a sawmill in the nearby woods, and he would teach Don how to chop down trees and prepare the wood for sale. When he got a bit older, Don would be responsible for reaching out to buyers in nearby towns and transporting the wood to them. Eventually, the family business was doing so well that they were able to open their own stores in the towns of Allende and Montemorelos. Whilst helping manage his family's business, Don Alejo became your typical family man and a pillar of the community. He had a reputation for working hard and being very reliable. His friends would even go as far as to say that a promise from Don Alejo was as good as a legal contract. He would also go out of his way to help members of the community who had fallen on hard times. As the methods for manufacturing and storing ice cream became more efficient, many fruit plantations in Mexico suffered because of the intense competition. Rather than just letting his local orange plantation go bust, Don Alejo helped the owners convert their land into a chicken ranch so that they still had a viable business and therefore wouldn't be kicked off of their land.
When does all this happen? It must be happening like early 1900s.
His free time, Don Alejo loved to go fishing and hunting, which he had done since he was a child. He loved it so much that he would help establish one of Allende's first ever hunting, fishing and shooting clubs along with his friends. And it was here that he began to collect a huge number of sports guns, and he became known as one of the region's finest ever marksmen.
I don't know how to be a
In the
marksman.
business, we call this foreshadowing. When they...
What are you talking about, foreshadowing? But I want to learn how to do a marksman, bro. If I get like great aim, bro, no cap, you feel me? You be the best. Everything. No cap, though. I'm about to get the best aim ever. Nigga, I better be shooting shit.
He had earned enough money from the family business. Don Alejo and his brother both chipped in to buy a massive plot of land. It was right next to the Presa Vicente Guerrero Lake, which was located near Victoria City, the capital of the state of Tamaulipas. The brothers would split the land between them, with Don Alejo taking the part which was known as the San Jose Ranch. He would use the ranch to raise chickens and other farm animals, and he would also contribute to the local economy by hiring ranch hands to help him maintain the farm. He would travel back to his home in Allende during the week to help run the family business, but he always returned to the ranch on weekends. He would typically use the time to relax with his family and enjoy the land that he had
She pushed
so
his head
hard
down.
to
What
get.
you?
I'm not some kind of filthy Redditor that spouts the word wholesome a whole lot, but Don Alejo genuinely seems like a very wholesome guy. He took care of his family, he helped out his friends, and he just seemed to be a major pillar of any community that he became a part of. But just like in any good old spaghetti western, the shining hero of our story is eventually confronted by the evil bandits. On the 13th of November 2010, some members of the infamous Los Zetas cartel had approached the now 77-year-old Don Alejo. The Los Zetas had their eye on Don Alejo's ranch because they wanted to use the ranch as an outpost for their drug running operations in the area. So they had gone down to convince Don Alejo to make a generous donation to them of his ranch within 24 hours. But before we go on, I want to give you a bit of an overview as to who the Los Zetas cartel were, to really have
anything dealing with the cartel. You already know that's bullshit, nigga. You not play with the cartel, no cap. It's like playing with the mafia, nigga.
highlight what Don Alejo was up against. The Los Zetas were formed in 1997 by former members of the Mexican Special Forces who had actually received training from the US Special Forces. However, instead of fighting against the cartels, which was their unit's intended purpose, they instead decided to defect from the Mexican military and instead join the cartels. They were initially an enforcement arm of the Gulf Cartel, but eventually, through their advanced military training, they became powerful enough to split off and become a completely independent organisation in 2010, and they named themselves Los Zetas. By 2012, they would secure operational supremacy in over half of Mexico's states. These territories were mainly focused near the Texas border and Mexico's southeastern coastline, and they very quickly became known as Mexico's most brutal and violent cartel. Their brutality came from the group's founding principle, which stated that if you frighten your enemy enough, you may defeat him without having to fight. And because of this, rival cartels were actually forced to become more brutal themselves to prevent them from being taken over by Los Zetas. So the reason that cartel violence seems to have exploded in Mexico over the last couple decades is because of Los Zetas. We all know that organised crime can be pretty brutal at the best of times, but what did the Los Zetas do that made them particularly evil? Well, for starters, they were known to kidnap innocent civilians, journalists and political rivals, and then used them for forced labour, sex slavery, and organ harvesting.
Huh?
And when these hostages were no longer of any use, they would be sent to places known as kitchens that the gang had set up. And the purpose of these kitchens was to
He says kitchen, right? That's what he's saying, kitchen?
kill the hostages and then incinerate their bodies in ovens or dissolve their bodies in acid baths or...
Bro, an acid bath, bro? Bro, an acid bath, my nigga, that's cruel right there. Even if they not alive, still that shit cruel as hell, bro. An acid bath.
And then
oh my God.
Incinerate their bodies.
Whenever I think about acid, I just think of like burning green stuff.
In ovens or dissolve their bodies in acid baths or feed the bodies to alligators.
Oh my
Los
God.
Zetas
What
were
the fuck?
also very well known for kidnapping rivals or family members of rivals and then brutally dismembering them. While they were still kidnapping rivals or family members of rivals and then brutally dismembering them.
Wow.
While they were still alive. On camera.
What?
And they would upload these videos onto the internet.
See, this is where them videos was coming from. This is where it is. Now I understand. Because when I was, in like 9th grade, people... I thought it was snow outside. I about to say, bro. Michigan fucked up. It's fucking, like, January. Right? I mean, it's June right now. It's snow outside. Anyways, bro, I remember seeing them videos, in 9th grade, bro. My friends just showed me that shit, bro. People, like, literally cutting people up and torturing them on camera and shit. This is where they came from. This is it. Bro, you would think that bitch should be like on a... It probably is on a dark web. Because on a dark web, that's literally everything. Like, that's literally just anything you ever wanted in life, anything that you feel me, it's all on dark web. So it's like crazy as hell, you feel me? That shit is wild, bro. That shit is fucked up. Women, they be doing women be doing that shit. Not women be doing it, but they be torturing women like on camera. Like, what is wrong with y'all, bro?
The Los Zetas took part in pretty much every single diabolical act you can think of. Absolutely everything. Organ harvesting, massacres, assassinations, kidnapping, extortion, drug trafficking, human trafficking, you name it, these guys did it.
Damn,
they would take part in virtually any criminal activity that would make them money. The Los Zetas...
What? They get paid for that? Who is paying you for that? What? Imagine actually paying somebody for some body parts? Bro, what is people doing, bro? People out here tripping.
Were obviously extremely brutal themselves, with one boss actually ordering his men to cut off the face of an innocent man for the awful crime of dating one of his female relatives. One of the Los Zetas bosses, named Moises Escamilla May, was personally responsible for the beheadings of 12 innocent people before he was arrested in 2008. But the good news is that he recently died in prison on the 8th of May 2020 due to catching COVID-19, which is pretty much the only good thing that it's done at this point.
Let's go.
There was also another brutal episode involving a regional Los Zetas boss called Mariano Milan Vasquez, and he had actually taken a 6-year-old girl, and in front of her parents,
Don't say it, bro. Don't say it, bro.
Let's just skip this part.
Wow, bro. Are you serious? In front of her parents, bro? Come on, bro.
Home just how disgusting the Los Zetas are. One of the gang's former kingpins, a man named Heriberto Lazacano, was actually famous for getting newly initiated cartel members to eat the hearts of recently killed victims, and he would also very often feed people to the lions and tigers that he kept on his estate. However, he also acquired the taste for human flesh himself, more specifically human flesh from the male buttocks.
What? What am I listening to right now, bro? What the fuck am I listening to? Bro, thank you for requesting this video, bro. Because what the fuck is this? Yo, that nigga say he be eating niggas ass, bro. Chill, bro. Chill.
State.
Chill,
However,
bro.
he also acquired the taste for human flesh himself.
Bro, hold on. So when he say, did he, like, he ate his ass, okay. But how, though? Did he cut his ass off and eat his ass cheeks like that? He said human flesh. He didn't say, like, you feel me, the normal way people do it nowadays. You feel me, spreading the cheeks open. Talking about human flesh. That means like he was actually eating it. Like, oh my god.
More specifically, human flesh from the male buttocks.
Okay, buddy.
This man eats arse. One of the things that he would do to the victims that he planned.
I think it's about this man eats arse.
He would make them take a warm bath for 3 hours and make sure that they were in a nice, relaxed mood before he killed them. And this was to apparently tenderize the meat and stop any adrenaline from making the meat too tough. And he would then have his...
If he know all that shit, that means he been doing this a lot. He been doing this a lot, then.
Arse cooked in lemon and served on toast.
Eating
so
ass,
why have
really.
I just told you all of this? Why did I just tell you a bunch of horrible stuff that has no doubt left you feeling disgusted and miserable? The reason I told you all of that is so that you could get an idea of what absolute maniacs, what completely irredeemable, subhuman scum Don Alejo was dealing with when the Los Zetas gang members approached him and approached his ranch. I also told you all of this so that at the end of the video, you will be in a very, very good mood. So back to Don Alejo and his ranch. Now, given the circumstances, I absolutely would not have blamed him for simply cutting his losses, handing over his property, and moving back to Allende. Yet, despite being fully aware of what he was up against, when the Los Zetas asked him to hand over his ranch, Don Alejo told them, "You want it? Come and get it. I'll be waiting." The Los Zetas then left Don Alejo's ranch after telling him that they would be back. I think the reason that Don Alejo told them to stick it where the sun don't shine was probably because he thought that he had already lived a full life by this point. He was 77 years old, and he absolutely didn't want to give away his treasured property to some cartel thugs. And what better way to end a fulfilled life than dying for your principles? So after telling his workers to return home and take the weekend off, Don Alejo got to work in preparing his defences. Using his massive collection of firearms that he had gathered over the years, Don Alejo would line up the weapons and ammunition beside every door and window to the ranch house. This was so that he could quickly defend himself from each direction.
Wait. What is a ranch? I think I know what a ranch house is, but I didn't... Like, when I imagine a ranch house, I imagine, like, a farm, basically. I don't know why I imagine a farm. I'm gonna look up a ranch house real quick. Ranch house. I can really know what he's talking about. Oh, so it's like a mansion almost? Oh, so they basically wanted his mansion. I don't know why, because it's just ranch house just sound like freaking, feel me? Like, it just sound like a farm or some shit. It was basically just a nice house. That's what it is. It's a nice house. Okay. All right. They literally walk into his house and say, "I want your house." Wow. That's savage, low-key. I ain't gonna lie.
Ranch house. This was so that he could quickly defend himself from each direction without needing to awkwardly carry guns or move around with bulky ammo pouches between positions. After this, Don Alejo got what little rest he could before the gang turned up at about 4 a.m. the next morning. The gang...
Hey man, hopefully that's what ranch house is though, because I'm trying to figure out why people sit. Like, why was people working for him? Definition of a ranch house. Definition of a ranch house. I don't know. Fuck it.
Immediately cower in fear before them when they turned up in several vans and trucks. But instead they were greeted to a defiant Don Alejo hurling insults, abuse and threats at them, telling them that if they wanted his property so badly, they'd have to kill him. As a last attempt to frighten Don Alejo into submission, one of the gang members fired a warning shot just above his property. This would have scared many men and possibly made them surrender, but Don Alejo is not just any man. So his response to the warning shot, instead of cowering in fear, was to instantly draw his own pistol and immediately double tap not one, but two of the gang members.
Wait, what? He killed two of them?
Killing them instantly.
Oh, okay.
The cartel members did not expect this. They really did not expect this. They stood there like frozen for a few seconds, just looking at these two dead gang members and going, did he just do that? So, in a panic, they started to return fire. And you would think that with their, superior numbers and the absolute hail of bullets they were raining down on the ranch house, that would have been enough to kill Don Alejo. But while they were, busy focusing on shooting at the ranch house, they didn't realise that Don Alejo had actually moved to a different firing position in the house. And by the time they stopped firing, they looked around and saw two more dead gang members. because Don Alejo, while they were all busy shooting, had picked off two more of them with a hunting rifle. The firefight...
The aim, he said he was good with that marksman. He said he was good with it.
Now in full swing. And two of the gang members charged at the front door of Don's house and kicked it in and got inside. Which would have been very bad news
they
for
kicked
Don Alejo.
Dang.
If he didn't know that is exactly what they would do. So upon charging into the house, the two gang members were greeted with Don Alejo staring right at them. With a shotgun.
Yo!
Two more down.
Yo!
At this point during...
Why are you taking out like by twos though? They keep taking out by twos. That's funny.
In the battle, the gang members were becoming increasingly impatient and also panicking a little because so many of them were getting killed. So they started firing high-powered rifles and launching grenades at the house to try and finally draw Don Alejo out. But they struggled to do even this because they were still under heavy fire from Don Alejo, who kept confusing them about his location by constantly moving to different firing positions within the house. After
77-year-old doing this.
After the battle had gone on for 5 minutes, the gang had finally gotten cold feet and fled from the ranch because they were worried that because they were so close to the state capital that it would only be a matter of time before the army would arrive and put a stop to the shootout. The Mexican Marines did eventually show up not too long after the battle had ended, and what they seen was a house riddled with over 900 bullets.
Damn.
And massive craters in the walls caused by the grenade blasts.
Jeez.
When the Marines entered, they actually expected to find a small group of ranchers defending the house, given that they had to stand over the corpses of several dead gang members to actually get inside. But what they found instead was an empty house littered with toppled guns and
look like that house wasn't even that big though. Like it was literally one-story house.
To actually get
is it upstairs here?
But what they found instead was an empty house littered with toppled guns and empty shell casings. They called out to any occupants of the house, saying that they were the Marines and it was safe to come out now. But they got no answer. So they started searching the house. And upon checking the bathroom, they found Don Alejo slumped on the floor. During the massive hail of bullets, Don had actually been shot very many times. And his body was riddled with shrapnel from the grenade blasts. He had barricaded himself inside the bathroom to make his last stand, but sadly, he died of his wounds before the Marines got there. And when the Marines found him, he still had his rifle in his hands, and it was pointed at the door. Now, we don't know a lot of the exact details of this case because despite this being a massive story, the local media refused to report on it for an entire week. This was because the Los Zetas had massive power over the local government and they were able to successfully intimidate state officials and journalists into silence. The reason that they did this is because it doesn't really do much for your image when your international violent drug cartel gets absolutely wrecked by a 77-year-old man.
Y'all suck, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Y'all think y'all so big and bad versus civilians, but as soon as you go against a real nigga, that nigga go on y'all ass. And that nigga on top of that. Y'all down bad, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
However, the Millennial News Channel braved the threats of the gang and they defiantly reported this story to the entire nation of Mexico. The story completely blew up over Mexican social media and Don Alejo rapidly became a beloved cultural icon within the country. The main reason people really loved Don Alejo wasn't just because he managed to single-handedly defend his property from what was at least 10 heavily armed attackers, but it was because what he did was a massive symbol for the people of Mexico. For decades, corrupt government officials and cartels have endlessly gotten in the way of ordinary Mexicans just trying to live their own lives, where they have to constantly deal with threats and even outright theft of their property and even their homes. But what Don Alejo had done by defending his ranch was take a stand against this entire system. And what makes it even better is he won. Just because you die after the battle doesn't mean that you didn't win the battle. Still counts. The Los Zetas would never return to the San Jose ranch, meaning that they had lost a bunch of men and completely humiliated themselves in front of the entire country for nothing. I think another reason that they intimidated...
And then they shot... If y'all wanted it so bad, y'all really shot the whole thing up. Y'all really shot that whole bitch up. So if y'all actually did get it, like, y'all had to repair the whole shit. You seen the bullet holes in there. You seen how... It was saying it was 900 bullet holes. 900.
Press wasn't just to prevent them from attracting unwanted attention and possibly getting investigated. I think the main reason that they didn't want the story getting out is because the story itself sends a powerful message. It shows that the Los Zetas could be defeated. Unfortunately, despite the huge media attention and being a massive cultural rallying point for the people of Mexico, no official investigation into Don Alejo's murder would take place, nor would any charges be issued against any of the Los Zetas cartel members. It just goes to show how bad the cartel problem still is to this day. It's estimated by the BBC that homicide and kidnappings by Mexican gangs have only gone up since 2017, This means that a lot more innocent people are going to have to die before the Mexican government can bother their useless, corrupt arses to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Despite this, though, Don Alejo continues to live on in the hearts of Mexicans to this day. The country's news channels and websites celebrated the 10th anniversary of his last stand, describing him as having died fighting as the best soldier, with dignity, honour, and courage. Musicians have also composed at least 2 corridos in Don Alejo's honour, a corrido being the cultural dancing music in Mexico, and you can actually find these on YouTube. I don't understand a word of what's being said, but it's catchy. Just like most of the stuff you find in the charts. There was also an independent short film that was put on YouTube as well, which recreates a lot of Don Alejo's final moments. Don Alejo has even inspired comic book artists in Europe. An Italian publisher called Panini Comics have actually released a full visual novel based on Don Alejo's life, and it's turned out to be very popular in countries like France and Belgium. Though I think it's pretty generous calling Belgium a country. The Roof Koreans were inspirational for Americans as they embodied the idea of the ordinary man defending his livelihood against a violent mob. And much like them, Don Alejo Garza Tamez is viewed as a living representation of what ordinary Mexicans aspire to. They want to be left alone and be able to fight back against the thugs that are ruining their country. That's why I think that we should look at Don Alejo's story as a cautionary tale. Don't give up your guns, don't give up your freedom, and don't give up your country to people that just want to sell you down the river. May we all aspire to be even 1% of the Chad that Don Alejo was. Viva la Mexico.
It's Count Thank You on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.
Okay, Mr. Society. Mr. fucking Society. Okay, buddy. Hall of Fame. Hey, man. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. Comment, show me yet to next, man. Follow me on Instagram where I'm most active at. You're on the grind to 1K, man. I'm out.